Hi, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Books and Beaches. So I am a few days late in getting this done, but I am here to talk about all the books that I read in the month of April. April was a fantastic reading month for me, especially compared to how the rest of 2025 has been so far. And so I was just so excited to feel like I'm finally back on track and just in like a really good reading groove, I guess. And not that it's like a competition on, how many books people read or anything like that, because even the books that I was able to read, earlier this year, I'm fairly happy, with where my reading is at. But it was just nice to see like, a bigger number this month, and I guess just knowing that I'm actually enjoying what I'm reading too. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at everything I read. So the very first book that I finished in the month of April was a book for work, and actually it's a very, very short book, but it's They Call Me I believe it was Guillermo, and this is by David Bowles. So we have a group that meets about every other month, once a month. It kind of depends, and we talk about different topics. Sometimes we talk about a book, sometimes we talk about a show or a documentary that we're watching. And so this time we met to talk about this book, and this book is about, like, based on a main character of a boy who their family lives close to the Mexican border, but they live in America, and just kind of a lot of the things that they struggle with, how close he is with his family, what it's like to be the most like white facing person in his family, and just kind of all sorts of things about, how he experiences his race and his culture. So it was written in prose, which is really kind of cool. So, and just, an easy, quick read, but that had a lot of depth to it. And it created a lot of really great conversation. So that was the first one I finished. And I'm just going to pull up the order because I want to make sure. I like talking about them in the order. I see different people do their wrap-ups in different ways. Like sometimes they do them in the order that they rated them. Sometimes I don't remember what I rated them, but I believe this last one I put as a 4. It's hard when it's more like a memoir kind of thing, but there was that one. After that, and of course I just loaned this book, I believe, to my mom, but that was This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead, and I absolutely devoured this book. So this book is loosely based off of what I believe were like the Idaho murders, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I didn't exactly follow along when all those were happening. But we have this woman who loses her dad, and her mom is really struggling with her grief. She is really struggling with her grief. And so she basically creates like an online persona for herself in what I believe is kind of like a Reddit forum for people that are looking into solving like murders. Sorry. Random stuff going outside my window. You never know what's gonna happen when you're filming in a neighborhood. But so they're like, oh gosh, what do they call them? Like online investigators. And they're really good at finding all of these details. Sometimes they don't make the best choices. There were a few times I was like, girl, what are you doing? But eventually, they kind of come together in person, meeting in person, because they're going to help solve this case that goes on at this college where several different groups of people have been murdered. So I don't want to say too much other than that, just because, with thrillers, I think it's best to go into them a little bit blind. But Ashley Winstead did not disappoint. I absolutely love this one. Devoured it so quickly. 5 stars. Easy. So there was that. The next 3 books I read, basically, I was going to say in order, but were all 3 books that I read for my 5-star predictions video with Lindsay and Sarah for Booklist Thursday. So I am not going to talk about them too much here because I have already talked about them in that video, but I'll make sure to link that below if you want to know my thoughts about these. But those were The Wedding People, and this is by Alison Esbach. Short and sweet, I did not love this one as much, I think, as other people did, but I still think it was good. It just won't be like a top book of the year for me. After that, I did First Light Wins by Ashley Elston. Really, really enjoyed this one. I think this is a great, mystery thriller, multiple different timeline kind of story. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts. Like I said, I'll have that link below. And then finally, I did Christina Lauren's The Paradise Problem, which love the cover, obviously, loved the setting. It's like a fake dating trope, but they're already married. So enjoyed it. A little bit spicier than I thought it was going to be, but there's that one. After that, I read another book that I don't have with me because I borrowed it from my school library, but that was And Then Boom by Lisa Phipps. Now, I heard Amanda from On the Middle Shelf talk about this one, and she suggested it because she knew I loved Lisa Phipps' other story, which was Starfish, and I absolutely loved Starfish. I think it is an amazing book. I felt something as an adult reading it, but it's geared towards like middle grade YA. And same thing for this one. So this one is based on a boy who basically is growing up in, a poverty situation. I can't remember if his father's out of the picture. I'm almost positive he is. But he's living with mom and kind of moving around, and he's in this trailer, but mom disappears a lot. And so he's kind of trying to survive on his own, and you see the friendship that he forms with these two other people that live near him, and kind of the way that neighborhood takes care of each other, and just a lot of chaos in his very, very young life. And this is another one like her first book that was told in prose, and I loved it. I cannot wait till Lisa Phipps writes more, because I just think she writes these very, very hard-hitting books, but that are so well written for like the middle grade or YA readers. So highly, highly recommend this one. It was an easy 5 stars, just like Starfish was. And like I said, I cannot wait for more. And then after that, I picked up, let's see, they're over here, 2 books that I kind of sort of talked about. I think I already did a haul of these because I was able to see Geneva Rose speak in the month of April. And so one, I knew I had to pick up obviously the new edition of her book because that was included with the author with the author event that we were at. But then I also picked up the fancy copy of The Perfect Marriage. And like I said in that video, so good. So I did reread / re-listen of this book because I wanted to make sure that I had all of the details fresh in my head before I picked up the sequel, The Perfect Divorce. And so I enjoyed this one just as much as I did the first time. We have this couple who right away we find out the husband is having an affair, and his mistress is found dead in their lake house home. Our main character, Sarah, in this book is a very, very well-known like defense attorney, and who else better to represent her cheating husband than her? So a lot of crazy going on in this book. I loved it just as much as I did the first time, and highly, highly recommend it. I had remembered details, but I am really glad that I reread it just to, keep things fresh in my head. And it's just a wild ride. And this cover, like this edition, is just so gorgeous. All the little details that they put in here. So was super excited to pick this one up again, which then led to me right away picking up The Perfect Divorce. And I am not going to say too much about this one because I do not want to spoil anything that happens in the first one, because the first one ends on such a that I just want to say this one is just as good, or as they quoted at the event we went to, they arrested Geneva Rose because she wrote a sequel that was better than the first one. They think these are both on like the same par. I really, really enjoyed this one, and I actually ended up listening to this one too because Adam Lazaro White is the voice of the sheriff in this one, and he is the narrator for at least all of the S.A. Cosby books that I have read, and I absolutely love listening to him. And so I just really, really enjoyed this one. Now, one of the narrators wasn't my favorite. I think it's the narrator they chose for Bob, which is another lawyer. Once again, those apartments. But other than that, really, really liked it. Just definitely can't wait to pick up more Geneva Rose because I have not officially read her to zero quite yet. So that is everything. quick, short, and sweet, but like I said, I'll make sure to link the 5-star predictions video that I did below. I have already finished at least one book here in May. I am planning on rereading The Nightingale with the Bookless Thursday crew. Lindsay and Sarah have like a set timeline through their Facebook group on how they're doing that reread, and I cannot wait to see how I feel about it, because I think The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna was the very first Kristen Hanna book that I read. And now that I've read The Great Alone and The Women, I to this day, I couldn't tell you if The Women or The Great Alone was my favorite, but I remember loving The Nightingale too. So I kind of want to see how that compares and where my thoughts are at. So I haven't made a ton of other plans for the rest of May, but we will see what I get up to. So like I said, those are all of the books and kind of my plans for May. Let me know what you read in the month of April, anything that I should be adding to my list, or what are your plans for May? I would love to hear, what you're going to be up to. If you are not feeling, super commenty, feel free to leave, oh gosh, let's see. Let's do a flower emoji, because all of those April showers are bringing our May flowers. So yeah, feel free to leave me a flower emoji below just to let me know that you were here, and it really does, help out my channel. So as always, if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.